But it wasn't until he started getting to these other fights where he was being tested. I think Jacobs was one, and then obviously the 2 fights with Canelo Alvarez. He started banking some money, but I don't know. Watching him from a distance, it didn't ever seem to me it was about fame or popularity or money.
Yeah, me neither. That's why it just strikes me so weird. But trust me, I think he's going to miss him a lot.
Yeah. Speaking of boxing, Conor McGregor, the boxer, the guy that's 0-1. Not really a boxer, but I guess he dabbled in the biggest boxing fight ever.
Mm-hmm.
Got to give him that. Got to give him that credit. Losing to Floyd Mayweather in August of 2017. He appeared back in the ring in a exhibition match. It was for charity. Although his opponent now is saying that maybe Conor was a little bit dirty.
Surprise, surprise.
He says,
but in
quote,
a charity event?
What's that?
In a charity event, though?
Yeah, it was at the Crumlin Boxing Club
Thunderlips?
in Dublin, Ireland. And Michael McGrain says McGregor caught him with the cheapest shot ever in his life. Now, I don't know how extensive his amateur or his boxing career is, But this is what he said, according to TMZ. We touched gloves at the start of the fight, and you're meant to go back to your corner, but Conor never went back to his corner. Conor leaped at me with a hook, left hook, the clinical left hooks, and then he caught me flush in the eye with his clinical left hook. Yeah, it was a cheap shot. It was the cheapest shot ever I caught in my life. Conor McGregor hit me with a cheap shot in his own hometown. And you can check it out on TMZ Sports. He's right. They don't start there. The only time I've seen that is in bare knuckle, where when you touch gloves or when they bring you together, the fight can start. Otherwise, combatants are usually separated after a referee brings them together for whatever reason, or there's any form of instructions, or if he actually wants them to touch gloves, depending on who's the referee that's handling. You know what I mean? So I wonder why he did that.
I don't know. It's kind of a dick
I'm
move,
one of those that
especially
feels,
in a charity event.
Yeah, I'm one of those that feels like there's always 2 sides to a story. So we've yet to hear from Conor McGregor just to see. But yeah, that sucks. All right. Anybody get drafted yet, guys?
I was seeing the thing of Kyler Murray, but no, the Cardinals are on the clock right now still, so.
All right. What do you think they're waiting for? Just to see in case anybody shoves a couple draft picks their way?
I think so. Kyler Murray, I mean, he's only 5'10".
And then what do you tell Josh Rosen then? Hey, we were just bullshitting. You're really our guy.
Yeah, I don't think that would work. I've heard different pitches that even knowing that Kyler Murray may not work out, they still have pressure to get him just to have that big draft pick, the jersey that people all go out and buy, that whole sort of thing, that the organization just needs that.
Right.
But I don't know, man. I mean, he's a good quarterback, but he's better fit for college. Like, people don't understand these running quarterbacks. When you go to the NFL, everybody's fast. In college, you're dealing with like a few guys on the field. I mean, everybody's high level, but you're dealing with like 1 or 2 monsters on the field. When you get to the pro level, everyone's a beast.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone hits hard.
Mm-hmm.
Quarterbacks can't take that.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. Russell Wilson's a guy that's been an elusive quarterback who can run, but has been able to measure and temper the times that he needs to run and pick up a first down and just stand back in the pocket, either throw it away, throw it out of bounds, take the sack, but not make many mistakes. He's got a Super Bowl to his credit. You know what I mean? So some can and have pulled it off.
You remember how mad I was when they took RG3, the Redskins.
Yeah.
I wanted Andrew Luck for that same reason, man. You just can't do that in the NFL.
He looked great for about a season and a half, and then somebody decapitated him, and that was it. All right. Look, now, since we're back on the NFL theme, let's talk a little bit about Greg Hardy, who's going to be in the co-main event at UFC on ESPN Plus 8. So they changed the name. It's no longer UFC on ESPN 3 because it's no longer on ESPN. It's on ESPN Plus. So they just gave it the name of UFC on ESPN Plus 8. All right, it's tomorrow. It's headlined by Jacare Souza and Jack the Joker Hermanson. In the co-main event, we mentioned Greg Hardy was going to be fighting, even though he's coming off a loss, even though he's only 3-1 in MMA, and even though in the UFC he's 0-1, because that's based off the UFC fight series. Okay, not the Dana White Contender Series. Those don't count towards his UFC record.
Oh.
They just count towards his MMA record. So if anybody's going 0-1 in the UFC, are you sure? That's the reason. He's 3-1 overall, but he is coming off a loss. However, he's actually in the co-main event. Now, it is a big weekend in the NFL. He's a former NFL player. He was a good NFL player, but he had a lot of controversy during his NFL tenure. And I think what's happened here is the UFC just felt like they crossed that bridge already of the controversy. We answered the questions. This is our guy. He's popular. He's in our co-main event.
The
I think it's as simple as
that happened with Rachel Ostovich and having them on the same card, it can't get any worse than that.
Right.
And I think they just figured, we made it through that. That was probably the worst thing that could possibly happen. We made it through that. So let's just go forward now and promote this guy where everybody knows him from, right? Mm-hmm. If you walk out on the street and go, hey, you know Greg Hardy? Most of them are going to go, the football player? Not very many people are going to go, the mixed martial artist?
Right.
That's how you market them.
I agree. And I think the UFC is just going to let people, anybody that's got a problem with it, we dealt with you before. Mm-hmm. 3 months later, we'll deal with you again, but we're not stopping from promoting our fighters. What hurts them is the times where other fighters that have been lesser known and have had those types of mistakes, and the UFC's put out a statement where they say, we in any way don't condone and we part ways with so-and-so.
Yeah.
Granted, remember
Same
those
thing with
allegations.
Refs and all that stuff.
Exactly. Granted, those allegations eventually did not lead to any form of indictments or anything like that. Therefore, I guess on the technical side, even though I think the general public knows something went down on the technical side, they believe they have a fighter, an athlete, we'll call him, who just only carries, I guess, just those allegations, rumors, or whatever you want to call it, not anything that's insubstantiated.
Yeah.
All right. You got a question, Jumbo Josh. What's up?
So I was going to ask you guys, with the draft going down now and this Greg Hardy talk, and football is kind of on everyone's mind, I was going to ask you guys the same question I asked Jimmy Smith and Dan Hardy on the show before, and they had some interesting answers to it. If you guys were starting a brand new MMA promotion, and you could draft any one fighter with the first pick, now putting aside what you would have to pay them, compensation, budget, put that aside. If you could draft any one fighter starting a brand new MMA organization, who would it be and why?
All right. We kind of had an off-the-air discussion about this a little bit. And if you're starting a new promotion, you have to have some sort of strategy. I would think that the obvious names would be kind of like the Conor McGregors of the world. But how long are they going to last in your promotion, right? So I think you're looking at more that's still kind of up-and-coming but still has a name type person, fighter. You know, the younger, stronger fighters. So I think that wipes out like the Daniel Cormiers. I mean, I guess you got to go.
Let me ask you one more time, Josh. If I pick Conor McGregor, do I get the one that's 31 years old right now and has all this excess baggage, or do I get the younger one coming out of Cage Warriors?
I'll say current fighters.
Wherever the status is right now.
Absolutely, yeah, that's simple.
It's hard to not say Conor McGregor because all it takes is 2 fights, and your promotion's just made a ton of money, which that's what most promotions need, is just the capital to keep going and a TV contract. And if you're able to say, hey, we got this guy with me, you know what I mean? But he's a unicorn. Dana White probably picks the right term to describe him as such. So aside from him, who would you go with?
I think you got to go with John Jones. Make him fight heavyweight and light heavyweight to start off.
John Jones.
He's going to be around for a while. He's already a big
on
name.
His side. It's pretty good, Ghost.
You got to go there, or if not, I guess my second guy would probably be maybe like a Max Holloway type, someone like that.
Yeah. Man, you guys have stumped me. I'm going to have to think about that. I mean, I guess I said McGregor, but I want to come up with someone other than him. So let me think about that one a little bit, all right? I may go with the female side. I might go with a Valentina Shevchenko or something like that. I feel like she's going to be around in a while. Amanda's already teasing retirement. Cyborg, I don't know how many fights she has left. And women's MMA, women's combat sports is blowing up. All right, I'm going to think about that one. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on Fight Nation Channel 156. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk to the Schmo, MMA media. However, he's doing the rounds in many sports. So we'll see what he's all about when we come back.
Here are George Goes and Dan Tom.
All right, here is our next guest. You heard him, the Schmo. To follow along by going to his website, www.theschmo312.com, or on Twitter and Instagram at theschmo312. Joining us now on the hotline is the Schmo. What's up, Schmo? How you doing? Welcome to MMA Junkie Radio.
Appreciate you guys having me. We're outside of Abrio here in Sunrise, California, covering UFC Fight Night. Let's go.
I think you said California. You meant to say Florida, right?
That's close enough.
Close enough. All right.
Warm here out here. Yeah, it's warm out here. Like
same climate.
California.
Hot chicks. All right. It works. It works. Schmo, man, that was quite a debut. Now, apologies if it comes off insulting in any way, but I had not been aware of who the Schmo was until that press conference, and then coming out of it, you were one of the stars of the press conference. But that to me, it was a debut, and I thought it was great, man.
Much appreciated. The Schmo's been out here for quite a bit of time, but I realized we had to take it up the next level. It was time for the Schmo to ask a question to Dana White. We got to get that 165-pound weight division, but we don't just create it. We got to do a Grand Prix style. That's what we think. We've talked to a lot of these fighters, and wanted to ask Dana White.
Well, I'm glad you did, and I think people need to continue it because we're also on that same bandwagon. We need 165, 175. Eventually, we'll get to 195. 195 would have been hotter about 10 years ago when there was guys like Rich Franklin, Vanderlei Silva, Dan Henderson that were kind of outgunned at 205 a little bit by some of them bigger dudes, but yet that 185 cut was a little brutal. Shogun never did it, but that's a little bit past the wayside, and I think 65 really needs to happen. So keep on campaigning for that. We're going to do the same, and I think we're going to get it because even though Dana White's against it, everything else he's been against, eventually he changes his mind anyway.
Absolutely. Now, you said 175. Would you make welterweight 175 and get rid of 170 and bump it to 175, or would you like a 165, 170, 175?
No, I'd get rid of 70. I'd retire it. The same way when they had 170, 200, and that's how they divided the UFC early on. They basically got rid of 200 because Tito Ortiz was getting tired of making 200. He goes, I need 205, and so they came up with 205. So I think you just retire it. And
go every 10, right?
And go every 10, exactly. And
I would call boxing.
I would call 75 welterweight, and the reason I would do that is because I prefer super rather than junior. So like in boxing, junior lightweight or super lightweight, I prefer super. So I would call that one welterweight, and I would call 65 super lightweight.
Got it.
That's how I would roll on that one. Yeah, Schmo. So get this, I hear you ask your question, and I'm like, look at this guy. Right away I go into hater mode. And then somehow, as I'm searching other stuff on YouTube, Ben Folks' article. That's right. Link to Schmo, and I go into YouTube, I check it out, and I was like, oh, okay, this is pretty cool, because right away what I liked about the Schmo's interviewing abilities was that connection he has with his guest, right? And so as I'm watching that, I think I trip over something else, and then YouTube recognizes what you like, so then the Schmo pops up again, and right away I go to that. Schmo, let me tell you something. I was on YouTube for about an hour or two watching your work, and right away went from hater to fan, man. Impressive stuff. I like your interviewing skills.
I appreciate it. I want to showcase these athletes' personalities to that young digital mobile audience we got.
Yep. And, I mean, you don't really fall out of, shtick or character or whatever you want to call it. You keep it up. It's solid work. And then I started even going in a little bit into the stuff that you do, training, with the whole Schmo outfit. It's pretty cool, man. I guess who put, was that your idea, or did someone call you a Schmo and then you ran with it?
It was my idea. It didn't happen overnight. My last name is Schmolenson. Schmo would be easier to say than Schmolenson. And if you Google a Schmo, it's a stupid person. It's all self-deprecation. Nobody gets hurt. David Schmolenson, the guy who plays the Schmo, doesn't get hurt. Just the Schmo gets hurt.
Yeah, for sure, man. I thought TJ Dillashaw was going to hurt you. But, yeah, no, serious, man. I'm really enjoying it. And, folks, we're talking to the Schmo, who's out in Sunrise, Florida, covering UFC on ESPN 8+8. Holy cow, I've got that all mixed up. Mm-hmm. So you got to follow him on Twitter and on Instagram at the Schmo312. I'm sure he'll be just banking interview after interview after interview. He not only dabbles in MMA, this guy's a sports interviewer, so sports media. He's had some really, really solid interviews, and he's hustling. That's another thing, Schmo. You're hustling. You're not just kind of sitting there off of one or two interviews. You're all over the place.
The Schmo likes to be everywhere. We do all sports. When we first started doing this, it was NFL and NBA, and then we segued into the fight scene, doing some boxing and MMA, and I just love covering these fighters. They all got a story to tell. You're only as good as your next fight, and you got to promote this stuff. Not everybody can be a Chael Sonnen and a Conor McGregor. You got to do what you got to do, and the Schmo's here to help those. All of those.
Yeah, I agree. All right, Goes, what do you have for the Schmo?
Schmo, now, it's getting hot, and summer's coming. We all know that you wear the nice jacket, the glasses. Does the Schmo have like a summer outfit, a summer routine that he's going to go through?
That's a great question. I've worn this turtleneck in 115-degree gyms inside the valley in California, Southern California, and schwitzed literally through all of my clothing. It's uncomfortable. This past summer, we transitioned to the short-sleeve turtleneck, but the turtleneck's the signature move. I just got to keep them light. I'm always looking for ways to advance, but the turtleneck and a blazer, it's a staple of the Schmo. And then when we're competing, the onesie, that's nice, but the turtleneck's a staple. So I just got to be creative, but it's got to involve that one way or another.
Schmo, so far, who's on the all Schmo team? If you had to go out and party for one night, which 5 individuals would you take?
Who gets to hang on you? Who's on your guest list?
Oh, for every Schmo that's been interviewed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. John Bones Jones, because let's face it, the guy knows how to party.
Yeah.
Let's be real here. Bill Walton, he's the ultimate Schmo. Got to put him up there.
Okay.
Platinum Mike Perry.
Got some backup there. Nice.
So that gives me 3. Now it gets a little tricky here because we got to round this thing out nice and fun. Let's go with Funky Ben Askren.
Okay.
Yeah, Funky is a nickname.
Is he going to get in, though? He's always wearing the sandals. He never has, any nice shoes. Usually the club will stop you if you're wearing the sandals.
Yeah, but he's rolling in this crew, the all Schmo team.
No, I got
throw
you.
him in there, and
okay.
He'll step up his game.
Okay.
He'll step up his game. And then our 5th one, just because of his newfound personality, the Olympic gold medalist who wants to be the champ, we got to put Henry Cejudo in there.
Henry Cejudo. Okay, cool.
Oh, man.
I personally would have gone with Ali Aquinta because you want to trash a hotel room at some point. So that guy's running. He's running point there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But that's a good list, Mo. By the way, I'm sure these fighters, Bruce Buffer, they're all hitting you up for tips on clothing and swag and stuff like that. Do you keep them to yourself or do you share them with those guys?
Oh, totally share them with everybody. I'll give 2 shout-outs right now. Joanna Alba Legacy, she's over there at the NFL draft right now. She was Magic Johnson's personal stylist. I came across her a few years back when we're doing a fashion show with NFL athletes. She styles all the up-and-coming athletes, a lot of fighters, a lot of basketball players, NFL guys. She's the Schmo's go-to in Los Angeles. And then Claudio Lugli in London. I met them over when the Schmo was covering boxing and the Gypsy King. She also styles, Claudio Lugli, Bill Goldberg, WWE legend.
Did you say the Gypsy Kings, the musical band, or are you talking about boxing?
Tyson Fury.
Okay. Gypsy
Tyson
King.
Fury, the Gypsy King.
Yeah, when he said plural kings, I was like, wait a minute. Okay, because I know they're from France and they're... Yeah, all right, go ahead, guys.
Schmo, is there an order, like a list of events that you want to cover that, like, in other words, if the Super Bowl's happening, is that going to out-trump, say, UFC 300 or something like that? Like, in what order do you like to do all these types of things?
The money's got to pay, It's the Schmo does this independently, and it's got to be where you got to follow the Schmoney. But in terms of the Schmo loves to cover the Olympics. The Olympics has always been the pedestal. The Super Bowl's obviously big. NBA Finals will be nice, but love covering the fight scene. And hey, I never have to choose between one or the other. They usually choose for me, and we'll see where it goes.
Has the Schmo ever had an incident where it almost turned ugly just because somebody wasn't getting a kick out of the Schmo himself or the look or anything? Maybe they thought they were getting punked or.
The only one time was actually go back to that fashion show I did with some NFL football players. Bobby Wagner, the big-time middle linebacker for the Seattle Seahawks.
Right.
Schmo likes to be quick on his feet. It was during the time where Russell Wilson had that picture on that magazine cover with Sierra holding her pregnant stomach. And I was quick, and I said, hey, you're looking better than your boy Russell Wilson did during the photo. And he thought I was making fun of Russell. I was trying to congratulate him. And there was a couple of drinks involved. And then literally, 30 minutes later, when he realized how quick-witted the Schmo was, he apologizes, all great, but that was it. We've interviewed over 150, 200 of these nice athletes here at the U.S. of A., and no one's given us any issues. Still got those glasses intact.
I noticed when you were interviewing Tyron Woodley, I'm sure some of it's kind of tough with MMA athletes because sometimes on a media day they might be a little hungry and moody. And Tyron was sizing up the Schmo, looking him over. I noticed of all the MMA fighters that I've noticed that you've interviewed, he was the one that was a little bit less resistant to just getting a kick out of you. You know what I mean? Usually the others are like right away, they're instantly feeling your energy.
Definitely. He was definitely cranky, the weight cutting. You know how it is. These guys, they could be in any mood. You never know what you're going to get before they hop on the scales. And we had to break him in, warm him up. But during that interview, if I recall, the Schmo did his homework. We knew where he got his fresh cut over there in Melrose.
That's right.
Southern California.
Yeah.
Shout out to Matt the Barber. He opened up like a book. I know he's got the music premiere the following day and that Sunday after the fight, win or lose. He had a lot on his plate.
The Schmo does do his homework. There's always a key question in there that gets them to light up. When's the Schmo going to be in Sin City, back here in Vegas?
We'll definitely be back next week, actually. Next week, the Canelo Alvarez Jacobs fight. We'll be back there next week.
All right. Well, hopefully if the Schmo, I know you're going to be pulled in many directions because you're super popular, super successful, but if the Schmo has any time and wants to hang out with a couple other Schmos, come hang out at our studio at Mandalay Bay. We'd love to have you back on. Preview that fight, talk some boxing.
Absolutely. It'd be nice to be there in person after chatting with you guys over there at the telephone.
All right, Schmo. All right, well, stay cool out there, man. I know how Florida is. I went one time, and sweaty as balls over there, so stay cool out there. Enjoy the fights. Keep doing your work, man.
Appreciate you guys. Thanks for having me.
Hang on 1 second, Schmo. Sorry, our producer wants to ask you a question as well. Josh, go ahead. What do you have for the Schmo?
I'm sorry, guys, but I could not pass up the opportunity. I mean, George, you, Goes, myself, we're all down with the Schmo.
Yeah.
We're all fans. But, Schmo, I wanted to ask you if you had any message for either fighters or anyone you interviewed or any fans or anyone even in the media who might not be down with the Schmo and what you're doing. Do you have any message for the haters?
My message for all the haters is we keep it positive, and our intentions are always good. People may not like change, but change is a part of being a human being. Everybody has a story. Never judge a book by the cover. And, smile and be happy. Life is short. Take every chance you can. No one's going to give anything to you. You got to earn it. You want something, you take it for yourself. Persistence and hard work go a long way. And at the end of the day, just smile and be happy. We're living and breathing. And we're living here in America or wherever you're living. And if you can breathe and you can wake up and see sunshine, life is beautiful.
All right. Now, I got one follow-up. Has any MMA media hated on you already? Have you felt it, or has anyone said anything?
I haven't felt it. I know probably there's some stuff behind the scenes, but the Schmo's not here for gossip or anything like that. We stay in our own lane. We care about what we can do, be the best you, and forget about the rest. We're living in the Schmoment, one day at a time, and we take it like that.
That's great, man. All right, cool. Well, let us know, man. We'll send some fighters to sort those people out. Nobody should hate on the Schmo. The Schmo's hustling. Good job, Schmo. Thanks again for the time.
Of course. Appreciate you guys. See you soon.
All right, we'll see you. Living in the Schmoment. Yeah, no. Follow him on Twitter at the Schmo312. That's Twitter and Instagram. And all I can say is, look, maybe you're not going to be like me. Maybe you're only going to give him one video or one, a quick video or a quick pic on Instagram or a couple tweets, and then you're going to judge for yourself. If you have some time when you're pouring your cereal in the morning or eating a sandwich or whatever. Let like 2 or 3 of those flow, and you'll get a kick out of it. I think it's just a breath of fresh air, honestly. Yeah. And I was laughing, and that's what I want to do when I want to go on YouTube. I want to be either informed or entertained, and he hits that. So
Schmo was great.
Yeah.
That guy was good too.
Yeah. All right, how are we looking on the commercials? We got to do another one? It's time, then. It's MMA Junkie Radio on Fight Nation Channel 156. We still got the daily debate. We still got some more interviews headed your way, so don't touch that dial. We'll be right back.
Good, you're still here. The boys were just getting warmed up. Now the real show begins. Take it away, boys.
Real show.
All right. Right now, SiriusXM is bringing you coverage of the first round of the NFL Draft, and that's from every perspective. The people that know the NFL better than anyone are on NFL Radio Channel 88. ESPNU Radio has a group of experts that follow the draftees through college. They're on Channel 84. And finally, find out which rookie moved the needle on your fantasy team. Go to Fantasy Sports Radio, Sirius 210 and XM 87. All right. So I fumbled a little bit of our game plan. So we've been jumping around from NFL to boxing to the Schmo.
But that's what today's like has that energy though, because of the draft, you know. And I don't know if people know this, but here at Mandalay Bay, we got the Latin Billboard Awards.
Yeah,
there's hot chicks walking around left and right.
Big time. Yeah. So we are going to head back to NFL in just a second, because we do have some audio from Greg Hardy. But looks like Marco from Waco wants to talk a little bit about the Schmo. What's up, Marco? How you doing?
Marco from Waco, ¿qué pasa, Atos?
How you doing?
I am so glad that I helped campaign to have the Schmo here on MMA Junkie, dude. That was a little fresh air, and I like you did. You know, I went to the YouTube rabbit hole to check out the Schmo's work, and I was so pleasantly surprised, man. I'm hoping this become a more frequent feature on MMA Junkie, because the guy is not only funny, but he actually asks legit questions, man. So I'm down with the Schmo.
Yeah, pointing back to that Tyron Woodley interview, I mentioned he was one of the guys that was still trying to figure out, like, hang on a second, is this a joke, or who sent this guy? So he was kind of looking him up and down. And again, those guys are going through the weight cut. But he kind of perked up a little bit when he mentioned that he knew who his barber was. So that was commendable to the Schmo for doing his homework. And from then on, him and Tyron had a good chat. And then I think he was I bet you it was a breath of fresh air for Tyron that day, because there's so many of the MMA media that come through and kind of ask the same questions and the recycled. So if anything, I think I could see the athletes warming up to the Schmo.
Not everybody, and this is nothing against Tyron Woodley. I'm not saying this directly towards Tyron, but not every fighter and not everybody is quick-witted. So sometimes it takes a while for people to understand what exactly is going on. Then you have the people that have maybe been picked on in their lives, and they're just a little defensive. So whenever you see people laughing and you don't know what's going on, you just assume it has to do with you.
Right.
And I've seen a couple of his videos where it seems like it does take the fighter a couple questions to realize, okay, this dude's not here to make me look bad. He's making himself kind of.
But John Jones loved him right off the bat. Did you see that?
I didn't see that one.
Yeah, John Jones loved him right off the bat. And there was one other fighter that was saying the same thing. He's like, man, I love your energy. And it was one of those fighters that, you just don't hear much from. I can't remember who it was. I wish I could remember right now. I don't know. But anyway, continue, Marco.
So, like, one last thing about the Schmo is, like, he needs probably a platform like MMA Junkie to be a little more visible with the MMA hardcores. Because I never heard about him until the press conference. But now, like I said, I went into a rabbit hole, and I like what I'm saying.
Well, he does a lot of sports, so I think it would have to be a company that I guess covers all sports. I mean, like let's just say our editor-in-chief said, I love the guy. It sounds like this guy wants to I mean, I don't know, but it sounds like he wants to cover all sports, but who knows?
He's gonna still freelance, like independent freelancing.
Yeah.
Hey, my fighting partner for this weekend, real quick. On Bellator, I got Rory McDonald. John Fitch is 41 for crying out loud, so he's not his physical prime like Rory is. McFarlane, because I never heard of the other girl before, they're giving McFarlane the cyborg treatment, just finding girls for her to mow.
No, man. Arteaga's tough. Arteaga is going to be a formidable challenger. She could very easily be 7-0, even though she's 5-2. Amazingly enough, she's beaten better fighters than the ones that she lost to, in my opinion. But anyway, so I wouldn't say the cyborg treatment. I think she's had some tough fight. I mean, Laterna was another one, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
the fight before that one was tough too.
Yeah, she's no joke, man.
Okay, I'll take your word for it. Phil Davis is going to Phil Davis, and it's a fight that nobody was asking for, but we got it again with McGilly. So I'm picking Phil Davis on a decision. But on the UFC side, I'm picking Sanhagen over Lineker. I think the hype is true with this kid, Cody Sanhagen. And give me a Jack Romanson over Jacare. You need a freaking a name fight to become a contender, and I think this is it. I like the guy, the Joker's momentum that he's carrying. He's taking the fight in short notice. He's supposed to lose, and because of that, he might surprise us all and beat Jacare and become the new best thing in the middleweight. Peace out, guys.
Okay. All right. We'll see you. Hey, all those, I mean, when you hear them, you're like, yeah, all of them could win. But 5's tough.
That is tough.
I don't think Marco's probably left us about a dozen parlays, and he's never called on Monday to say, cha-ching, you know what I mean?
Can you imagine those sitting through all of that and then getting to the end and you need Hermanson to win? That'd be tough, man.
And the fights will be simultaneous, if I'm not mistaken. So 2 or 3 TV setup for Saturday. Okay. First hour is down. Still got an hour to go. 877-FIGHT-93, 877-344-4093. Got a couple callers before we get to John Howard at 9:20 p.m. Eastern. Stay close. It's the MMA Junkie Radio Show.
Goes.
All right, we're back, and we're going to keep hitting the hotline. If you call in, we will take your call. We'll try and put you on as quickly as possible, as long as we don't have an interview going. 877-FIGHT93, 877-344-4893. I'd love to know who's your NFL team and who you want them to draft, or maybe what's the best draft pick they've ever made. I don't anticipate that answer from our next guy. He's calling from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. But Marco, you laid an egg, man. Who's Marco's team? Probably Houston, maybe?
Right? I would think.
I guess J.J. Watt would have to be at the top of that list, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll answer for him. Oreo from Canada. What's up, Oreo? How are you?
Hey, guys. How are you guys doing?
Good, and you?
Long time.
Very long.
Good, man. Good.
Now, is that your baby, or are we going to hear about an Amber Alert and you're involved in it?
No, they're both mine.
Okay.
That's how long it's been since we talked. We got 2 kids now.
Okay. Congrats.
Yeah, so thanks, man. Hey, I really appreciate that you guys are getting new journalists and stuff like that. Like, that Schmo guy is hilarious. And I remember you guys saying if you want to branch out to the MMA space, you got to, do something that stands out. So many people are just, like, asking the same boring questions in press conferences, except for you guys. John Morgan's the man, but, everybody else is like, oh my God, ask something different. I appreciate you guys branching out and getting, these gems, you know what I mean?
Well, thank you. I mean, really, it was Josh's idea, so the credit goes to him. But like I said, if he would have asked me the day of the press conference, in fact, I think I said no, right, guys?
No.
I think the first time I was like, no, I'm good, because I think it was fresh off of that.
The first time it was a no Schmo.
Yeah, I had to circle back when I got caught up. Yeah, because I read Ben's article. There was a link to it. And then, so I watched, so when I saw it, I think it was him with Dana in the back. So we had extra time with Dana. Dana reacted well to that. And then I think it was a Man United day, so I was checking out some stuff there. But like one of the next videos that popped up, because I have the autoplay, it was the Schmo again. And so I sat down. I think I was making myself a lunch or something. The Schmo came on, and I started cracking up a little bit. And then I started looking for a couple others, and I think I emailed you guys, and I said, you know what, 180-degree turn, yeah, I like him.
Cool. Hey, so I won't take up too much of you guys' time. I just had a quick question about the UFC fight this weekend. A lot of live dogs at play, but I'm not really sure which one to go for. I just wanted to ask you guys which one do you think is the best at hitting? Thanks.
Okay. All right.
That's it, yeah.
Well, underdogs, huh? I mean, I would.
Gotta like.
We'll ask Dan Tom for sure tomorrow on that one. I want him to chime in. So I'm going to write that question down from Oreo. Who do you like, Goose?
I would have to say that Mike Perry at plus 160. He's a tough cat. I think a lot of people underestimate how good of a fight he can put up. So I would be my underdog play, I think.
Marco likes Hermanson. I think Hermanson might have a shot. The jury's still out with me on Hardy. There's an article on Junkie that says Smolnikov, he trained with Hardy before, and so he doesn't definitely seem intimidated. He's almost plus 300. Perry is an underdog to Cowboy Oliveira, and Cowboy Oliveira's beaten some good fighters. He's also lost his fair share of fights that one would think was going to put him over into another level. Sandhagen's a dog. I'm on Sandhagen. And
But are you like really confident about that though, Sandhagen?
Yes, and I'll tell you why.
Really?
Yeah.
That's such a tough fight, man. He's a great fighter. I think I ended up picking him, but in no means, by no way am I sitting here going, hey, that's going to happen. Get ready to cash that ticket. That's a hell of a fight, dude.
I'll tell you why. I think it was Damon Martin from MMA Weekly, or it may have been someone else. I apologize if I'm butchering this. It may have been Shamatkar Sandhu, actually. Yes, I think it was. I'm going to point you guys back to March 2nd, UFC 235. And he tweeted something along the lines of, hey, this card seemed like a shifting of gears. No, that's not the right word. Not the right phrase. A changing of the times. And he pointed to, he said, look, Kamaru Usman beat Tyron Woodley. Ben Askren beat Robbie Lawler. Zabit Magomed Sharapov defeated Jeremy Stevens. And I think that might have been it. So, man, maybe there was another card. Because I thought he cited 5 different examples of kind of a younger guy got the older guy. And, you know what? I think it was another card. Hold on, let me see if I don't want to butcher this. Because I remember sitting back and going, wow,
well, I mean, just
excellent
those
point.
examples there.
Yeah, let me see if it was
pretty big.
Ngannou Velasquez. Ngannou got Velasquez. And I wouldn't say Sterling over Rivera. No, it wasn't that card. There was 5 examples that he cited. Let me just try 2 more, and then otherwise I'll toss in the towel. I'm going to take the whole show up on this. Cejudo Dillashaw. No. And let me go back to 232.
But it was Shamatkar that said it?
I think it was Shamatkar that said it. Nunes beat Cyborg. Chiesa beat Condit. Corey Anderson beat Latifi. Volkanovski beat Mendez. Walt Harris beat Arlovsky. Megan Anderson beat Ngannou. Yeah, this might have been in. So check it out. Here's some of the established names that lost. Ryan Hall beat BJ Penn. Megan Anderson beat Kat Ngannou. Walt Harris beat Andrei Arlovsky. Alexander Volkanovski beat Chad Mendez. Michael Chiesa beat Carlos Condit. So there's 5 right there. I don't think Nunes beating Cyborg. I mean, it was an upset on paper. You know, the odds favored Cyborg. But, I mean, come on, she was a champion as well. So so I think that might have been the tweet. So I guess I've been hanging on to that one for a while. I just remember going, that'd be a great point to bring up on the show. You know what I mean? But anyway, so now back to Lineker and Sandhagen goes. You watch these fighters, and you watch the timing, and this is where I'll give a shot to the matchmakers. They'll see the timing of someone who's just been hot for a while, but maybe they haven't reached the crest, and either they're difficult or they're just not marketable, and you find someone else that maybe can be that guy or gal, and so you match them up together. And if the younger person gets checked, well, guess what? They can rebuild because they're younger. They got more time to do it. And the older person cashes the check, and then they keep going. But a lot of times, I think the matchmakers throw some of that talent at certain fighters because I think they've just had it with that fighter. Remember, these fighters reach a certain point. 4-fight contract,
think he's one
done.
of them, though?
I don't know. 4-fight well, remember he had the weight cutting issues for a long time?
Yeah.
So he disappointed him quite a few times. But 4-fight deal, done. Another 4-fight deal, done. Third 4-fight deal, done. Because some of these are like Jim Miller's like almost on his 30th fight. Imagine how many contracts he's gotten to. And each time, they give him a little bit of a bump. But sometimes you're like, wait a minute. You're paying that dude 80 and 80? What do we really get back? You know? And I'm not saying that about Lineker himself. I'm just saying I'm seeing a veteran who's been fighting for a while against a hot young prospect who could probably or possibly be a champion. And if not, okay, that's fine. We'll have ourselves a barn burner fight, and Lineker will just keep progressing and doing what he's always done. But if not, guess what? Sandhagen gets over a little bit on Lineker's name, and that's kind of what I'm feeling on that one. Yeah,
right.
Not that I scientifically broke it down and saw that last 10 fight. That's why we have Dan Tom. I just watch the fights, and then I try and remember as much as I can. And then when their fight comes up again, I'll dilly-dally a little bit and remind myself of some highlights or watch some fights and see what's what. But for the most part, I can remember their skill set, and I can tell who's championship material pretty quickly and who isn't.
I think this fight should be sponsored by Denny's because there's going to be a lot of scrambles.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of missed shots.
It's like
They're
two little
gonna be all
slippery.
over the place.
It's like two little slippery lizards. You know who said that?
Who?
Diego Sanchez said that about his fight with Nick Diaz. It was back in
that
like
was a
2005.
fun fight.
He goes, man, we were all over the place scrambling. It was like two little
Carl had a
slippery
good one, too.
lizards or something like that. I don't know. All right. There you have it, Oreo. Hopefully we answered your question. John Doomsday Howard is going to join us at 9:20 p.m. Eastern, 6:20 p.m. Pacific. Goes, who's been drafted? Do you know?
The guy from Duke, the quarterback. I saw him go. Somebody just went right now. I think Josh Allen just went. Let me see. Kyler Murray went number 1. Number 2 was Nick Bosa. Number 3, the Jets. Quinnen Williams,
Who's that?
defensive tackle, Alabama. The Raiders. Can't see that.
Clellan Ferrell,
from
defensive end, Clemson. Buccaneers.
Devin White.
Inside linebacker, LSU.
Daniel Jones from
Quarterback, Duke for the Giants.
That
Okay,
kinda
so
makes
Eli,
sense.
hey. Josh Allen, defensive end from Kentucky, went
That's
to
where we're
the
at.
Jaguars. And now we're at the Lions, and then the Bills, and then the Broncos. All right. Greg Hardy. Let's talk a little bit about that guy. What happens if he wins? What do we have if he wins? Let's say he wins similar to how he won his first 3 fights, just devastating fashion, quick, first round, early second. He's former NFL player, Greg Hardy, with a big spotlight on him this weekend because of the draft and the UFC's marketing him well.
Mm-hmm.
What do you feel about him? What happens next with Greg Hardy? Do you just continue to develop him, keep tossing veterans at him, or do you start to fast track a little bit? Remember, he's not a spring chicken. He's not 23 or anything. I think he's 33. I'll look him up right now.
I think you give him another fight that you think he can win, and then by then he has to have shown that he's developing all-around skills, and that's when you start to give him that older veteran, and not necessarily fast track him, but
he's 30. Oh, he's
bump
30.
him
They
a
got
little
time.
bit,
Yeah. But no one in the top 15 or nothing like that?
No, I don't think that would go very
You just
well.
find another name and...
Yeah.
All right.
You gotta remember, he's probably got a lot of money too, so who knows how long he wants to do this. He might just get over it after a couple fights.
You think so?
He could.
Well, Demetrius Smolyakov
It's tough to
is
be a mixed
9-2
martial artist.
overall. In the UFC, he's 0-2, but he got another shot. Outside the UFC, he's basically 9-0. His only 2 losses were in the UFC, and it was to Cyril Asker and Luis Enrique. So he's a Russian 6'2", 257. Hardy's 6'3", 265. Should be an interesting fight. I think Hardy... I don't think he's going to get... I'm seeing him similar to... that's too much. I was going to say like a Kayla Harrison, but geez, they built a whole division around Kayla Harrison.
Yeah.
I don't know, but you can tell the UFC, this guy's I wouldn't say a favorite, but the UFC's kind
Maybe
of
like a
high
Sage
on him.
Northcutt, right?
Little bit like that, yeah. A little bit like that.
Where you give him somewhat favorable matchups, favorable placement, but at the same time, it's not like you're all in on the guy either, right?
Has the UFC already accepted that if Hardy just keeps winning and the spotlight keeps getting bigger, and eventually if he ever fights for a title, are they just okay with answering these same questions? That's just never going to go away.
I think they're past it.
Yeah? All right. Well, we have some audio cuts. We have MMA Junkie Radio at Media Day today in Sunrise, Florida. This is Greg Hardy going a bit much, I think, but I guess if it's his opinion, can't say he's wrong. But look at the comparison he gives of being a co-main eventer.
It's like being in the Super Bowl back-to-back, It's like playing in a playoff game over and over again. It gives me confidence, I have the opportunity to come out, show what I got. The powers that be believe in me. It's a great feeling.
See, I don't know if it's a Super Bowl back-to-back.
Well, he said playoffs too, right? That would make sense.
Yeah, maybe just a big game. Because if this is the Super Bowl back-to-back, what happens when he fights for a world title? What's it then?
getting inducted in the Hall of Fame.
Being
You're right.
he,
You're right.
he realizes
I think
that he's
playoffs
actually a
is good.
superhero or something.
I think playoffs is good.
Yeah.
But
Here's some other things he said. We took some time, watched the film, calmed down after an aggressive fight, and just broke the fight down and moved forward. It was actually a fun process. It was more than me. It was more just me being a young fighter, not heeding all my coach's advice, with all the adrenaline and this and the other. I don't do nerves. I've been a professional athlete too long. He continues, I don't think I match up with anybody. I think I might be the biggest person in the UFC. Hopefully, I'm the fastest and one of the most athletic. I think the only difference between me and everybody else is my intelligence in the game and my training experience. I've been working every day tirelessly to catch up on that, but athletically and physically, there's no comparison. Well,
I don't know that he can
Ngannou's
catch up.
pretty damn big. I don't think he's bigger than Ngannou. But athletically and physically, it does seem like he hits as hard as a guy like a Ngannou. What I'm concerned about, though, is guess who was Ngannou's kryptonite? Well, aside from Derek Lewis, Stipe Miocic. You know what I mean?
I don't know if yeah.
Now, Cain Velasquez didn't have enough time to even consider taking this fight to the ground, but some of them big wrestling dudes, I don't know. I mean, Ngannou's been able to check Velasquez and Blades twice, but Stipe was able to give him some problems. And that's what I think of when I think of an athletic phenom who's physically strong, can hit hard. Okay, I'll give you all that, but there's still a few other things out there, that you need to be strong. How do you react when someone socks you up?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
But isn't this the division to do
or
that?
Or someone takes you down or takes your back.
If there's one division that you can get away with, it's probably this one, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's true. Well, tune in
he's
on
not,
Saturday.
And he's not fighting for a living like a lot of these other guys, where I think they have those pressures. I think he's doing it because he likes it. It's a challenge. It motivates him. But I'm telling you, I think if he were to come across that moment like Francis Ngannou, I don't know that he comes back and does this again.
Mm-hmm. If you go to our rumors page, there's some info there that I think you can find useful. For one, remember I told you guys this was UFC on ESPN 3? They took it off ESPN. It's now UFC on ESPN +8. Jacare versus Hermanson. Now it's a later start time. It's going to go on at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 Pacific for the main card. The prelims are going to start on ESPN 2, and they go at 5:30 Eastern, 2:30 Pacific. Then they switch to Big ESPN for the next set of prelims, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, and again back to ESPN Plus at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 Pacific for the main card. Now, the reason I said rumors can be very useful, for one, you see who's fighting who. If you click on each fighter, it tells you what their record is. But check out Titan FC. They got a Titan FC 54, Soares versus Franca, on April 26th. That's tomorrow. If you're already down in Florida, like the Schmo, let's say the Schmo just didn't feel like working on Friday, I'd go, hey, go check out Titan. Titan's in Fort Lauderdale. It's really close to Sunrise, Florida.
I always want to go there.
And so any fans, if you want to double dip and check out, 2 nights of MMA, Titan FC 54, taking place in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. It's got all the information there. LFA's in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Cage Warriors 104, they're back in Cardiff, Wales. KSW 48, Lublin, Poland. The rumors tab is very, very handy, and it tells you what's coming up, who's fighting on what card, how you can view it, what the start times are, all that good jazz. We got to take a break. It's MMA Junkie Radio on Fight Nation, channel 156. When we come back, we'll be talking to John Howard from the Professional Fighters League. PFL 2019 Week 1 is upon us, May 9th. PFL Season 2 kicks off the regular season and the Nassau Veterans Memorial Coliseum in Uniondale, New York, home of the Islanders, the National Hockey League. It's going to feature the men's welterweights and the women's lightweights. And this is every fight matters. Remember, it's a point system there. You get points to win. You get more points if you finish. And depending on what round, you get even more points. So what you want to do is bank them points so that you're guaranteed to get into the playoffs. I don't think any of these fighters care who they fight in the playoffs. I mean, I guess if you're 0-3 against somebody and that person's had your number, I guess you wouldn't be human to think, I'd rather avoid that person. But for the most part, what you want to do is just get enough points so that you make it into the playoffs, and then at that point, that's when you want to really, really rise to the occasion. Now, the incentive here obviously is you still get paid to fight and to win. So you definitely don't want to go out there and just get your ass kicked. You want to win and you want to have a good position. The sooner you get out of there, the sooner you can get back to the locker room, shower, do the media, and get back to recovering for the next fight, because it's going to be an active summer/fall/winter. Joining us now on the hotline is John Doomsday Howard. Welcome back, John Howard. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. Thank you for having me again.
All right, my man. Yeah, we love talking to you. We haven't loved it as much the last 10 years, to be honest, because somehow we always circle back to Boston sports teams, and you always have scoreboard on us, except the one year that we did take you guys out, and then we went back-to-back because we're Lakers fans. But I guess other than that, you've had quite a run.
Yeah, he's only got to wait a couple months before he can smile again.
Yeah, Red Sox, Patriots, holy cow. I don't know if the Boston Bruins are still in it, but they are. I hope they lose.
Well, listen, man, this is the city of champions, man, and that's all we do, man. So I understand where you're coming from, but now, go Boston. Boston strong. We're the best.
All right, fair enough. All right, John Howard, you've had a taste of the PFL, man. Did it take a lot of convincing to get you back over there? You know, were you a free agent immediately after season 1 and then, re-sign, or had you already been signed up for the first 2 seasons?
No, it is, because I'm into the semifinals, and especially my situation. I don't know the detailed situation. My last fight against was in the middleweight division. It was a draw. I think it was a DQ because it was a legal name. It was a draw, so they did promise me a seat in the PFL, and because of that, I didn't exercise my being able to see. I just kept it open so I could rejoin them. So I real appreciate it. They brought me back.
It seems like a lot of fighters, I don't know how many you can speak on or just speak on yourself, have really, really enjoyed being with the Professional Fighters League. I mean, through and through.
Yeah, man, they've been really good to us, man. I mean, they not only is this the whole new system of fighting, it's just finally they're making MMA fighters million-dollar athletes, man. And it's about time, man. So it's a great opportunity, man. And I'm just so fortunate to be part of the new movement of MMA.
Mm-hmm. All right, you're going to be facing last year's champion, Magomed Karamov. Aside from the win, I imagine this would be a nice message to send to the whole division if you get the win.
Yeah, man. That's obviously the goal, man. I mean, Magomed, he's real tough, man. It's not an easy fight. I mean, he being a champion and winning $1 million for last year's tournament. So I definitely got my work cut out for me, but I'm looking forward to prove a point, man, and I'm excited, man, because I'm going back to my original weight where I think I had before best of my career, which is 170. I was a monster in the UFC as a 170. I went 4-0. I'm straight 4 times in the UFC. So coming back to the PFL as a welterweight, I think it's going to be a straight up reckoning, and I'm excited.
John, don't take this as disrespect, but I want to know, what do you feel like are your strengths? Aside from just you carry power, would you say, like, hey, I'm also an accurate volume puncher, or there's jits or wrestling that I just don't use as much as others? What are the strengths other than the power would you say are there for you that others need to watch out for?
It's not only the power, man. It's my Muay Thai for sure, man. Everybody knows how good my striking is, but also this is the first time me being a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt as a welterweight. So that's a new expert I'm bringing the game. Coming back as a welterweight. I'm a black belt on the Dave Ginsburg Jiu-Jitsu. And, I've been performing really well, man. I did some grappling tournaments, and I came first place in my weight class as gi and no gi. man. So the new game I have is not only my jiu-jitsu, also my wrestling with the jiu-jitsu. So people have to worry about not only my power, but now my takedown defense and my takedown ability and my ability to grapple on the ground now.
So even after 42 fights, you continue to grow as a martial artist. That's awesome, man. It's commendable, and you just keep adding tools in your tool bag. And I think a lot of that probably was also due to the fact that PFL, they call it a regular season and a playoff. Well, guess what? That means you had an off season and you were able to shore the game up a little.
Yeah, most definitely, man. Actually, right before I joined the PFL in middleweight, I was a black belt already. I've been in black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu about for going on 2 years now. I'm about to get my first degree coming up hopefully this year. That's my instructor. But yeah, man, it's like I said, like I'm a martial artist. I keep growing with sport, man. I'm not used to sport. I'm not one of these old school guys. Just stop it where they're at and they'll keep growing. I keep growing as the sport grows. I try to keep up with the young kids.
Mm-hmm. John Howard is our guest here on the MMA Junkie Radio Show. He will be debuting in Season 2 against Magomed Karimov, last year's champion for the PFL's welterweight division. And remember, it's a regular season followed by a playoff. The winner gets $1 million. All right, Goes, what do you have for John Howard?
John, I've seen you do this a couple times, and it's at the end of a fight, you grab both your arms and you just scream. And I love it every time you do it. But I've always wanted to know if every time, is it the same motivation behind the scream? Because sometimes, like, I've heard fighters say it has to do with the fight, and then sometimes I've heard fighters say it actually has to do with, like, personal things going on in my life that I'm just releasing. For you, what does that scream mean?
That scream is like a reinforcement of victory and a reinforcement of who I am. Like, it's just that feeling of satisfaction, especially when you finish somebody. It's just that satisfaction in yelling and expressing myself, man. So every time I get a finish, I just get so excited. The energy and I tell my personal chi that the way I want to describe it, it's just I just feel it, man. I got to release it because the energy and the excitement you get from it, it's just so overwhelming that screaming helps me to release, what I'm feeling.
Have you ever had a fight where you feel like you fought pissed off, like angry, and did you feel like you fought better because of it or not as well because of it?
I feel I felt better pissed off, man, and that's the one thing I'm bringing back to BFL. I'm pissed. When I knocked out Dean Robertson, everybody thought I killed him. It's because I was like livid, and the reason I was livid because he was talking trash. I was trying to be humble to him. Hey, listen, man, welcome to the UFC. It was his first debut. I was like, welcome to the UFC, man. And then he started talking trash. I'm gonna beat you everywhere. I'm gonna out-grapple you. I'm gonna out-strike you. Like, you're not comparing to me. I'm undefeated. He was just talking all this trash, and I'm like, listen, you're talking so much trash, man. You better back it up. It'd be funny. I'd knock you out, quite easily, And sure enough, it happened, and he pissed me off, man. And I came out. As a matter of fact, the really what pissed me off that fight is I went to put my hand up to tag his in, and this dude jabbed me like a ninja jab. That's what they call him, Ninja Robertson. Dude, like he came in to jab me. I'm like, dude, I'm trying to give you, a respect, but because you didn't give me that honor and respect, dude, I lost my. I was pissed, And when I get pissed in the fight, I feel I perform better.
This was Daniel Roberts that did this?
Oh yeah, Daniel Robertson. Yep. Because what happened is I went to go give him a high five, and as I give him a high five, he double jabbed me in my face. I was like, what the hell is this, bro? And then he just came at me. He came at me so hard. I just took it as disrespectful. Here I'm trying to give respect to martial artists, and you just want to come in and begrab me about it. And when he did that, I was like, okay, let me show you what I'm really about. That's when like Doomsday came out, and I was emotion and rage, man. I just waited for my one giant shot, and when I landed it, that was it, man. I kept going. I tried to break his face.
Wow. We've had him on the show quite a few times, and he's always been pretty chill. I'm definitely not calling you a liar. It just caught me off guard.
You know what I just did, George?
What's that?
I set the foundation for if we ever piss off John Howard, then when he gets mad, we can go, nah, man, we were trying to do you a service. We were getting you motivated for your fight. See, now we can get away with one.
Exactly. You set the script. All right. Well, listen, I can't say enough about PFL. Last year was fun. And the reason why is because it was easy to track you guys. You guys fought frequently, so I want to wish you, a healthy 2019. I mean, that's part of it. You got to stay healthy so you can show up to the fights. But seeing you guys fight so often, I remembered who was who and who needed to win and who needed the points. And then then the fights you have to do twice in one night. It was pretty epic, man, for PFL. I was happy with them. And now, John Doomsday Howard, you guys are on ESPN. So go out there and do your thing, my man. Like I said, we've been covering you for a long time, and you're definitely an exciting fighter to follow. And when you're clicking, you're clicking.
Okay, and I just want to tell everybody I'm clicking. I just want to let the fans know that I'm a lot more motivated. I actually changed my whole life. I quit drinking. I'm back in my kids' life now. I had a situation with my kids. I couldn't be there, but now I'm back there. So I have more motivation. But I'm also pissed. And the reason why I'm pissed is because what happened last year, I feel that I was robbed of the situation, that was completely unfair. And I don't know why the judges or PFL, or I don't want to blame PFL. I want to blame nobody. I don't like how the situation turned up because I felt I was wrong and DQ'd. And then I had to sit there and lose $1 million, that was not my fault. And the guy who did illegal knee won the fight. So now that motivation got me really pissed off. And the old school Doomsday, is coming back. The guy who don't care, who's raging. Like, I have some pure rage in the cage. I'm like, the way I feel after that fight now, I'm going there willing to die. I am so beyond pissed, and I don't want to talk about so much. I don't want to be that dude because that's not my style. I just want to show and prove. I'm just excited, and honestly, for the whole PFL welterweight, I don't care who you are. You're in my way, I'm hurting. Now it's personal, and the fact that I'm back to my original size. I'm gonna have size and strength. I'm not only trying to knock you out. I'm trying to break your ribs, your face, and everything. I've been famous for that. Slams, all that old school UFC style, picking people up over my head, slamming them on the neck, and I think that's all coming back, and I have no remorse now. And I'm so pissed off. If I slam somebody and break my own neck, I don't care. I'm doing it.
Damn.
He's got me fired
You
up.
want people leaving in stretchers, huh?
Oh, yeah, dude. Yeah, dude. Matter of fact, when I'm in, the last time I put someone in a stretcher is when I was welterweight. So that's my goal, man. I knocked a few guys out in middleweight. That's pretty cool. But when I put guys in stretchers and do amazing face and break face and shatter jaws and end careers, is when I'm welterweight. And that's my goal, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm at, I would say, towards the end of my career. I have a few great years left, but you're going to see Doomsday mad and pissed, and I don't care. Now, not only I don't care about like my own health being now, I don't care about anybody else's. So my sacrifice, I'm willing to sacrifice my body. So if I'm willing to sacrifice my body, imagine what I'm willing to sacrifice to my opponent.
All right, but stay a
Can't
little
miss
bit.
this fight now.
Stay a little bit on point here. We need you healthy, and we need you competing for $1 million. You know what I mean? That way, when you fly out to Vegas and hang out with us, you can take us to the Rhino, and it's all on you because you made $1 million. So we also got to temper some of that rage. You know what I mean, Doomsday?
Oh yeah, definitely, man. I definitely save some of the rage, man. But I don't. I'm going in with that mindset, ready to bang, man. And like I said, I have a tough weight class, man. There's a lot of stuff out there, But I'm just ready to go. I don't care who's in front of me. I don't care. I'm ready to really do what I do best, man. And I'm excited. I'm very excited to show the world that Doomsday is not done yet. I'm so excited. I can't wait, honestly.
Hey, John, one last thing here. I'm not trying to stir the pot or anything, but I remember that night, I thought you handled it with pretty classy. Like, you didn't really cause an uproar or anything. When did all this settle in where you were like, okay, hold on a second, I see it a different way now?
No, dude, let me explain to all the fans in the world. Believe me, I was pissed. Believe me, I was raged. Y'all didn't see what I said in the background. You didn't see me rage out in the background. You didn't see what happened after the fight. You saw me be a classy martial artist.
Right.
Yeah, and walk out. I'm a black representative. I really believe in the whole system and having a gi and bow and stuff like that. You saw me be a martial artist, and I hold that because I have students that I hold that to the highest degree. Okay. That being said, after those cameras are on the background, don't think I wasn't mad and losing my stuff, and don't think I didn't rant and rave. I just know when to keep it classy and strong, and I said to myself, you know what? That's good stuff. You got it, but I'll be back. But when I come back and you see what happens, just know it is y'all brought this up. That kick the sleeping dog, not the dog's awake.
What? Whoa. Okay.
So instead of using all that energy and being mad and screaming, "Oh my God!" and complaining about it, it happened. You suck it up. You be a man. You be a martial artist. Things happen. Everything don't go your way, but at least have a second chance. But now that I have a second chance, now I'm pissed. I'm coming back, and I'm not gonna be unprofessional and unclassy in this, yell at the world, oh, this is unfair, all this. No, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show everybody how I feel. So when you watch this fight and I do what I do, you're gonna understand.
Got it. All right. And I just want everybody to be clear. He kicked a sleeping dog, the saying, not a real dog. So just in case anyone interpreted that for a second, John's not that guy. I even tripped over that for just a second there, John. But I understand what you mean now. Okay. Well, hey, look, what's in the past is in the past, and I'm glad you kept it classy that night, and that's fine. That's fine. That it's fuel, and that rage is going to come out this season. So hopefully we can talk to you before every fight. And we wish you the best of luck, again, with health and with your, with all these fights. And hopefully you can be there in the end battling for that million, brother.
Hopefully, too, man. If everything works out, I'll be the millionaire and the world champion at the NFL.
Right on. Hey, thanks for the time, as always. We really appreciate you, all right?
Thank you.
Okay, we'll see you. Folks, follow him on Instagram at John Doomsday Howard. I spent a few minutes looking for him on Twitter, and I didn't see a tweet. I saw an old Twitter attached to his Tapology, but it didn't look like him. So I'm just going to promote that one real quick on Instagram. A lot of people are on the gram. Or on Facebook, John Doomsday Howard. Same as Instagram here.
He's intense, huh?
Yeah, he is very, very intense.
And he didn't say no to the Rhino.
He did not. I expect that. If he wins that million, that's where we're partying. All right, folks, I think we got one more break to take. It's MMA Junkie Radio on Fight Nation, channel 156. We'll update you guys a little bit on the NFL, see who's been drafted and who's doing what. And we also got our daily debate, so don't touch that dial.
Brothers Garcia seemingly can't agree on anything.
Everybody knows it's duck season.
Rabbit season.
Duck season.
Rabbit season.
Whether it's food,
Less filling.
Tastes great.
Less filling.
Tastes great.
gambling,
Always bet on black.
I like red.
Black.
Red.
Black.
Red.
Black, dummy.
or even social media,
Instagram.
Snapchat.
Instagram.
Snapchat.
the same applies to the biggest stories in MMA. Time for MMA Junkie Radio's Daily Debate.
Today's hashtag daily debate for at MMA Junkie Radio. The NFL Draft is one of the biggest events in pro football's calendar. Where does your love of the NFL rank versus your love of MMA? Notice we said the NFL and MMA. All right, here we go. Your choices are MMA is greater than the NFL. I love them equally. NFL is greater than MMA. Or both, meh, but I do love Junkie. Goes?
All right. I grew up a huge NFL fan. That's what was on our TV growing up as a kid. I still love it to this day. But here's the thing. It has a season, and then it goes away. And when it goes away, I miss it. Mixed martial arts does not go away. I love mixed martial arts. There's a new matchup every week. It's MMA for me. But NFL is still right there because I couldn't picture my life without the
So
NFL.
MMA crosses the finish line, but the NFL is right there. It's like a photo finish.
Yeah.
Okay? That's a good way of explaining it. I'm going to go with both meh, but I do love Junkie. And that's today's daily. No. All right. I was hoping you'd say that. I was going to say that, and we'd throw off the videographer, and that'd be the end of the daily debate. But no, you know what? If they had written, and I'm the jackass that actually came up with this idea, but if they had written football would photo finish MMA, and I'll tell you why. Because football means high school football, college football, and pro football. And to me, it's almost like three different sports, even though they're all playing it.
Yeah,
it's
I
just
can
that
see
all
that.
the levels are so competitive. And again, I know you guys don't want to hear my modern day thing, but we are the two-time defending high school champion. And then USC's just had a huge history in football. And then, of course, now you get the pro football. So for me, man, there's just so many days. Like, we have a blast on Letter of Intent Day, right? That's in February. Then the schedule comes out. Then the NFL Draft is a whole other day. Then there's, like, the first day where you either franchise a player or there's the other thing. What's it called when you can franchise someone? There's something else.
I don't know.
In other words, there's a certain free agent where they can't leave because they're your franchise.
Yeah.
And then there's another one. I forget what it is. So there's all these things on the calendar that kind of keep you going. Then there's the Hall of Fame. So you're right. It's not year-round. All right? But still, the question didn't say that. It said NFL. And to me, yeah, you worded it the best. MMA is just, it's everywhere. Because we didn't specify UFC. So we got 2 cards this weekend. And the Bellator 220 card is just as good as UFC on ESPN Plus 8. So we get to watch both of them. I was talking about Titan, KSW, Cage Warriors. They all got something going on. It's a lot, man. If you love fights, if you love knockouts and submissions and highlights and new stars and storylines and drama, it's hard to get away from. NFL drama is a little bit different because, the NFL, those guys, they make mistakes at this level where they have so many resources around them, and they've hit. Some of these kids are famous when they're high school athletes or university athletes. So when they go to the pros and there's all that pressure on them and then they succumb to it and make these dumb mistakes, I guess I get more frustrated than in MMA. I feel like in MMA everyone's grinding and it's not till you maybe get that first bonus or your first win on TV that you finally can, I guess, grow and mature as an adult and start to enjoy being a professional athlete in that sport. And that's why I tend to give them a little bit more of a longer leash. But I'm totally segueing here. To answer, I'm going with MMA just slightly over NFL. Yeah.
Have you missed the big fight?
I missed Adesanya Silva, that one, because Whitaker fell off. And it was my buddy Johnson's 50th birthday. And the card it was a pay-per-view, but I didn't feel like it was worth purchasing. And I knew I would just figure out the highlights and see the highlights before I came in here to host the show
That's
on
the
Monday.
thing. I don't know that anybody would miss a Super Bowl. Or let alone
but that's 12
have
Super
the
Bowls, though.
balls to
But
have
you don't
a
watch-
birthday on their Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So there are things
The
where the NFL
equivalent would
does
be,
equivalent.
do you watch every NFL playoff game? You probably don't catch them all. You probably
Probably
catch
not,
most
yeah.
of them. and this was just an NFL UFC. I think it was 234 was just a playoff game I chose not to watch.
Mhm.
But anyway, here's how it broke down. It was just the same as us. MMA greater than the NFL. Photo finish for us though. 17% said equal love. 12% said NFL greater than MMA. Wow. And then 2% said both meh, but I do love myself some Junkie.
That's our staff.
I think so. I think I voted for it too. Here's a few more. This is Wade M159 on Twitter. My 2 favorite sports to watch. Thinking just like us. Michael Midas 19D on Twitter says go Knights. If you mean the Vegas Golden Knights, hell yeah. Although that was a painful loss the other day. And here's this an interesting one. At Famous KJ Styles says NFL will turn into MLB. Just watch and you'll see. Is that Dana White?
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. The NFL's a juggernaut, man. So I'd tap the brakes on that one. But still, MMA is growing for sure. And MLB, is declining. All right, that's the Daily Debate brought to you by the MMA Junkie radio team. Thank you for all the votes that came in. Goes, what's an update on the draft? Falcons
it's
are
on the Falcons.
14th?
Yep.
Okay, so wow. Is it me or did I could have sworn we had gotten through
And
7
it's
picks
coming up
pretty
right
quickly.
now. There were a few that went by pretty quick.
The Atlanta Falcons select.
The following. Let's see who's going
That
to
guy
be.
makes $44 million a year, the commissioner of the
just
NFL.
to be him. Chris Lindstrom,
A guard from Boston College. Man, if you're a Falcon fan, look at that lady's all dressed up.
That is
would you be fired up over that?
To me, that is the toughest team in sports to root for.
The Falcons?
Them and the Minnesota Vikings.
They let you down a lot?
Well, they're never shitty enough where you're like, but next year we got that number 1 pick, you wait and see. And they're never good enough to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess
You know what I'm saying?
right.
It's
Yeah.
always tough because they're always right in the middle.
Speaking of MLB, MLB Network Radio, do not miss the finale of MLB Network Radio's doubleheader tonight at 10 Eastern. So that's coming up here in about 8 minutes, just as our show's going off. And what's going to happen is the Texas Rangers are going to battle the Seattle Mariners. Catch the live play-by-play on Sirius 209, XM89, and streaming on your phone and at home on SiriusXM connected devices and speakers. See, look, we're already into I don't know how many games of baseball, and I could give 2 shits. And it has nothing to do with the fact that the Angels are
It is
not
playoff
playing well.
hockey, though, and basketball.
Exactly. The other sports just, yeah, the Vegas Golden Knights had a little nice run. There's been some, oh my God, did we talk about this? We're done, right? Our game plan? Josh goes?
Yeah, let's do it.
We've hit all the check marks?
What are we supposed to talk about?
They were free flowing, man.
We're
It's just
free-flowing.
between us.
All right.
You know what we're doing, George? You know what we're doing?
Oh, no.
What? Freestyling?
We're living in the schmoment.
That's good. Hey, we didn't say our hearts broke when the Vegas Golden Knights lost to the San Jose Sharks.
Correct.
We have to post something nice about Scott Coker.
Oh, that's right.
But that game, let me tell you real fast. We were up 3-1 in the series. They tied it to 3-3. That means they won 1 in Vegas and they won 1 in San Jose to make it 3-3. Game 7 was in San Jose. I thought our goose was cooked. Now, the line was like minus 110 on each side, and we were beating them 3-0. With 10 minutes left, we had a major penalty. So what happens is it's 5 against 4. It's a power play. Most power plays, when it's like 2 minutes, as soon as one team scores a goal, the other guy comes out of the little detention box, the penalty box, and they're back to full strength. When it's one of those major misconducts or some shit like that, it stays that way. Those guys scored
For 5 minutes.
goals in 5 minutes and took a 4-3 lead. At that time, if the Knights just would have lost, it would have sucked. Don't get me wrong. But them bastards, them goofy bastards are the best thing ever. Them bastards came back and tied the Sharks. So they went into
Less than a
overtime,
minute left.
and I thought, wow, we're carrying a little bit of momentum because the Sharks are probably like, oh, man, how did we let that one get through our fingers? We just had them. We demoralized them and scored 4 goals, and we let them tie it. They come out in overtime, and the Sharks won. All right. We all know it. We've all seen it. It's a collapse. It's going to go down in history. One of the most painful things in Vegas history, Vegas sports history. Probably right up there goes with when UNLV lost to Duke, honestly.
That one hurt.
All right. But that same night.
George.
Oh, yeah.
No, I don't want to play devil's advocate, and I like the Vegas Golden Knights. But, I mean, when you talk about painful sports moments like the Bartman stuff and the Curse of the Bambino and all that, all those teams were around for quite a while. I mean, this is, the second or third year?
Correct.
I mean, they got, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I'm not saying in the long history of Vegas sports. I'm just saying in the history of Vegas sports, this will just go down as a painful one for Vegas fans.
Yeah, it hurts.
Because last year we came up short in the Stanley Cup, and this year we were like, well, hey, we were ranked number 6.
And it was a bad call.
We were taking out the number 3 ranked team. Let's see what we can do here. I'm telling you, man, hockey in Vegas is fun. Everybody dresses up. All the hotels are back in the nights. Everyone wears a jersey.
The Statue of Liberty's wearing a jersey, for crying out loud.
Exactly. Everyone's wearing a jersey. Like, you can feel the buzz in town, whether you're going to the game or not, or whether you're into it or not. Somebody asked if you're not a fan. What I wanted to get to, though, was, and now it's really going to be really, really anticlimactic, but we never talked about it, and it's because we don't talk much basketball, but how about Damian Lillard's 37-point three-pointer to take out the Oklahoma City Thunder? That was such a gangster shot. He scored 50 points in that game. He had Paul George guarding him, and he was so far behind the three-point line, I think Paul George thought, because the clock gets down to like 8 or 7, and that's when the point guard makes his move, because he's got enough time to either do something himself or get one pass off, and then that guy tries the game winner. And I think Damian Lillard just figured, I've scored 47. I got the hot hand. They're never going to think I'm going to shoot it from this far. And he actually took a little bit of a step back and shot it. To Paul George's credit, he tried to close the gap, and he got up there because he's like 6'8". Lillard's only like 6'1". And Lillard made it, man. He was closer to the half-court line than he was to the three-point line.
Have you broken it down, like watched it in slow motion?
Not in slow
Paul
motion.
George actually left his feet before Lillard.
Did he really?
He knew it was coming. And apparently,
so that
he shot that quite a bit, and he's actually got a pretty good percentage at it. He played, I can't say perfect defense, because perfect defense blocks it. But whatever the next notch is, that's what he did.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
He was saying something that I completely agree with. It just sounds bitter. He was saying it was a poor shot, and it was. Because, for one, most great shooters from three-point line, if you shoot 40%, people are like, hey, hats off. You're awesome, right? But you can find a field goal that's closer to 50 or 50 itself. And for him to shoot it that far back with that kind of pressure, that was pretty gangster.
Did you see what they tweeted?
No, what?
Next question.
And then he waved by to him?
No! Yeah.
Dude, if you're an Oklahoma City Thunder fan, that's exactly what you were saying. Who said that?
The Trailblazers Twitter account.
Oh, that right there is a dagger.
No! Oh, yeah, dude.
That right there was a dagger if they tweeted that. I wish I would have seen that. I need to start following more teams and shit. All right. Fun show. Hopefully you guys had a blast with us. Ooh, the Redskins select who goes.
Ooh, they're cheering.
We got seconds.
Dwayne Haskins from Ohio State. I'm not down with that.
You're not down?
Nah.
You said something about a quarterback.
Yeah. I like the dude from Missouri.
Okay. Thank you to the Schmo for his time and John Howard. Those were our guests today. Tomorrow, Burt Watson will join us on the show. And I'm sure we'll have another guest or two, so tune in. We'll be back in 22 hours. For Josh and Goes, I'm George. Have a nice day. Go out there and be a champion.
For living in this moment,